you would do long after the feeling has faded. So, like I said a couple minutes ago, are you going to be willing to make the decision today, tomorrow, a week from now, 2 weeks from now? Because, like I said, I can be motivated right now, excited. I just heard Nano's podcast. I feel good. I want to get myself to that optimum state. I'm going to commit to the routine. I'm going to do a routine just like Nano. Okay, Nano talked about that 10-10-10 routine. I'm going to try that. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to do 10 minutes of meditation every day, 10 minutes of reading every day, and 10 minutes of journaling. And you could be motivated and ready to do it today. And you said, you know what? I'm going to do this for the rest of the year. I'm going to do this for a month. Cool. Great. But now, let's say a week from now or 2 weeks from now, you're tired. You're exhausted. You went through something bad at work. You and your girlfriend or your boyfriend had an argument. You're not really feeling too good. Are you gonna still do your 10-10-10? Remember, commitment. Doing what you said you would do long after the feeling fades. You were motivated a week ago, 2 weeks ago, but now you're tired. Now you're exhausted. Now some problems showed up in your life. Are you still doing it now? That's the key. You want to have momentum? It's about doing what you said you would do, regardless of how you feel. And to be honest with you guys, this is the real key right here. You want me to tell you the key? Here it is. The only days that count are the days that are hard. The only days that count are the days that are hard, because it's easy to show up when you're happy, motivated, and everything is working in your favor. But can you show up when you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you failed, when everything is working against you? Those are the only days that count. Okay? I'm going to repeat it again. The only days that count are the days that are hard. Don't forget that, because when my mentor told me it, it never left my mind. So that's why I'm going to repeat it again. The only days that count are the days that are hard, guys. Every other day doesn't count. Only days that count are the days that are hard, the days when you're tired, the days when you're exhausted, the days where it seems like nothing is working in your favor. When you show up on those days, those are the days that build willpower. Those are the days that build belief. Those are the days that build your confidence. Those are the days that make the difference. And those are the days that are going to set you apart from everybody else. So number 3 is decision making and commitment. Number 4 is smart, continuous, massive action. Smart and continuous, massive actions. Now, let me teach you guys something. There's 4 levels of action. The first level of action is doing nothing. Okay? Someone who does nothing. They're doing nothing with their lives. They just wake up. They're on the couch all day. Maybe they'll go to work for a little bit. They come home. They're doing nothing. Nothing to become better. Okay? That's the first level of action, doing nothing. I hope that none of you guys listening to this podcast are at level 1 of action. As a matter of fact, I know none of you guys are at level 1. So let's just leave it out there. Number 2 is the retreater. The retreater is the individual that takes action, and then the moment he or she gets a challenge, starts to retreat, starts to feel bad about themselves. And you set a goal to do something, and then you faced one challenge, and now you stop taking all action. You stop showing up, you stop reading, you stop doing what you were supposed to do just because you faced a challenge. Those are called retreaters. They take 2 steps forward and then they take 5 steps back because they faced a challenge. Don't be a retreater. Number 3 is normal levels of action, right? You're just doing enough to get by, right? You're just doing enough to make it seem like, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Now, there's nothing wrong with normal levels of action. As a matter of fact, most people are in this level of action. They're just taking normal levels of action. They're waking up at the time that they're supposed to wake up. They're doing what they're supposed to do in their businesses, at their jobs, and so on and so forth. Now, at this level, this is a good place to start. It's not a good place to stay. Okay, so you don't want to stay here. The place where you want to be at is level 4, which is the massive levels of action, where you're doing more than what's required. Okay, you were supposed to be reading 10 pages a day. Now you're reading 20 pages a day. You were supposed to be in the gym 3 times a week. Now you're going 5 days a week. You were supposed to be, talking to 3 to 5 people, for your business. Now you're talking to 10 to 15 people for your business. You're doing more than what's required, right? You were supposed to be, you usually wake up at 7, 8 a.m. Now you're waking up at 5, 6 a.m. Okay. Like it's doing more than what's required, and it's doing it every day over a long period of time. That's what smart, continuous, massive action is, doing more than what's required. That's level 4. And then the last one, so we can wrap up this amazing podcast on how to create massive momentum in whatever season that you're in your life. Number 5 is review your strategy. Remember, you cannot track what you do not measure. Okay. So the 3 magic questions are, review your strategy. What did you do well this month? What didn't you do well this month? And what improvements are you going to make next month? I love to review my strategy. I actually do weekly reviews every Sunday. Before I start any one of my weeks, I do a weekly review. Okay. As a matter of fact, it's funny because I'm actually recording this podcast right now on a Sunday. So Sundays for me are review weeks, right? Review days where I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to ask myself, okay, Nano, what did you do well this week? I did this, and that well. All right, great. Check. Give myself a pat on the back. Got to give yourself a pat on the back for what you're doing well. Because sometimes we just focus on what's not working for us. Let's also give ourselves credit for what is working for us. So, number 1, I'll ask myself that question. Number 2, I'm going to ask myself, what didn't I do well this week? And I'm going to be honest. Remember, this is a conversation with me and myself. So I could be honest. I don't got to show this to nobody. I got to be truthful. Okay. If I lie, I'm only going to be hurting myself. So I got to be honest. No, you didn't go to the gym. You didn't follow your morning routine. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Like, you have to be honest. Okay. And then the third question is going to be, what improvements are you going to make this next week? And usually the answer to question 3 is the opposite of your answers from question 2, right? Which is, let's say I didn't go to the gym this week. Well, one of my improvements for this next week is I'm gonna go to the gym. If one of the things I didn't do well this past week was I didn't follow my morning routine, well, this week I'm going to follow my morning routine, and that's going to be one of my improvements, just to give you guys some short examples. So you got to review the strategy and you got to work on it, guys. And if you do these 5 things, okay, you follow these 5 steps that I just gave you guys, you will create massive momentum in any season of your life, for your business, for yourself, for your team, for your organization, for your company, for anything. You will create it, right? Number 1, getting yourself in that optimum state. That's number 1. We can't do 2, 3, 4, 5 if we're not doing number 1. Okay, so number 1 is getting yourself to that optimum state. Number 2 is finding that passion. What's going to be the focus? What are you going to love to wake up and do every day? Number 3 is the decision making and the commitment. Remembering that it's not about making the decision one day, it's about making it every day and staying committed to it regardless of how you feel. Like I said, what's the only days that counts? The hard days. Never forget that. Number 4 is the smart, continuous, massive action. No regular levels of action, no retreats, no action, no. Massive action every day, doing more than what's required. And then number 5, review your strategy. Go back, review yourself on a weekly to monthly basis. And if you want to be more advanced, then just do it on a daily basis and amazing things will happen. Momentum is among us. It is here. It is happening. I know all of you guys are going to experience so much momentum after you guys apply this. I can't wait for you guys to go out there and create massive success for yourself, for your families, and for your teams and organizations. Take this training to heart. Never forget it. And trust me, guys, momentum is our best friends. I love you guys. I appreciate. All right, let's get today's call started, guys. Welcome to Mornings with Nano. Super excited to be here with each and every single one of you. I pray that everybody is having a good day. Real quick, if you did your morning routine this morning, put a 222 in the chat box. If you guys did your morning routine this morning, if you've taken the time this morning to pour into yourself, to read the book, to read the word, to spend some time in visualization, reading, visualizing your goals, going to the gym. I feel really, really good this morning, as I always do. What's up, my brother? How you doing, G? Always feeling good, always feeling blessed, always feeling aligned. God has definitely blessed me in so many ways that all I can do is be very, very thankful for the position that God has blessed me with. And I'm just so grateful that you guys make it a priority to jump on today's call, because today's call is going to be a good one. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Mornings with Nano. I am your host. My name is Nano Torres. And today we're going to be talking about the vine and the branches, which is a recent lesson that I learned that really shifted me. And I wanted to make sure that I also shared that shift with you guys as well, because of what it did for me. I want you to have maybe the same effect that it had on me. I want you to have it as well, because it was a very eye-opening experience. It was something that really, shifted my mindset, and it made me realize a lot about, the way that I need to be moving, the way that I need to be moving forward with my relationship with the Lord. So, today I'm going to be talking about the relationship with your creator. All right. And I say this with all respects to whatever you guys believe in, but I want to make sure that you guys know that I'm going to be reading from the Bible, and that you guys know that for me, I believe in Jesus Christ. He's my Lord and Savior. But I do respect what everybody else believes in. But take these stories that, I share with you guys, and see how it can relate to your life, and how it can relate to where it is that you guys are at today as well. But just know that these lessons, far exceed anything that, you guys can believe in as well, because this goes deeper than whatever it is that you guys can see right now. This is so, so deep. And I want you guys to really embrace what I'm about to say, because it's about to get really, really deep here. So if you guys are ready to take notes, and if you guys are ready to learn, and if you guys are ready to get a breakthrough on this call, I want you to put a 3 in the chat box if you guys are ready for this training here today, because I'm excited for this training. As a matter of fact, I was going to do this training yesterday, but I was like, you know what? Let me give them a day to get it ready. Let me organize my thoughts right, and let me get this training in place, so that way I can come in here. Even though yesterday's training was so good on method acting, I wanted to make sure that we did this training. So as you guys know, recently I'm reading the Bible. If you guys would have jumped on Mornings with Nano years ago, I wasn't reading the Word like that. I wouldn't say I was scared to read the Bible, but I think the size of the Bible always scared me, right? Like looking at it, and I'm like, yo, I don't want to read all of that. And I would always make the excuse as to, oh, I don't understand it, or it's too big, maybe in the future. And I would always make an excuse. I read all the personal development books. I've read over 100 personal development books before I actually picked up a Bible. And when I was going through one of my toughest moments in life, a friend of mine, I was on the phone with her, actually. She's one of my best friends. And, she advised me, like, yo, why don't you read the Word? Like, why don't you read the Word? And I'm like, nah, like, I don't feel like reading. I never understand it anyways. Like, the verbiage and everything. She like, well, look, let me get you the Bible that I have, because the Bible that I have, it has like these sections that basically help you understand what most of the verses, the important verses in the Bible mean. Like it's like a Bible for beginners that want to be able to understand everything. And I was like, you know what? If you buy it for me, I'll read it. So she ends up buying it for me. And I remember the first book that I read was Job, the story of Job, because at the time, since I was going through such a tough time, if you know the story of Job, he lost everything. And, the devil went to God and asked permission to test Job and the whole nine. So I could really relate to the story. And as I was reading the story, I realized, I'm like, yo, this is so dope, because I was reading the Word, and then at the bottom of it, it had like little sections where it would tell you like, hey, look, that's what this means. That's what, God is trying to, communicate here and all of that. So I'm like, yo, this is awesome. So ever since then, I've read so many different stories in the Bible. Now, I haven't read the Bible from the beginning to the end. What I've done is I've picked like the most popular chapters in the Bible, and I've read them. So I've read, Job a couple times. I read Psalms. I read Proverbs. I read Ecclesiastes. I think I said that right. Which one else have I read? I read John. I'm reading John now. I read Matthew. I read a bunch of different books now in the Bible, and I see the value in it, right? And it's so, so cool. So let me show you guys. So now I'm reading John. And John, there's this story about the vine and the branches. Now, I had heard about these stories in church, but in church they usually just pick like a they'll pick like a verse and then they'll dive into it, but they'll never really go into the full story. So I had heard about the vine and the branches. I had heard about the story of Jesus washing the disciples' feet and all these different stories, but I had never read the stories behind them and seen the context behind it as well. So recently my walk with the Lord has gotten a lot deeper because I understand things on a deeper level than I used to. Like now it's all starting to make sense. Now I really understand the principles, and it's changed me and it's uplifted me and it's allowed me to lead better. It's allowed me to live a life of more peace, of more faith, of more trust. I live with better principles. Things that I once used to slip up on, I don't slip up on as much no more because I'm walking with this God consciousness now. And this specific story hit me the most, and I don't know why it hit me so hard. And I think it was because, I'll read the story out loud to you guys and then I'll come back to it. But I know that there's a lot of people that are on this call that need to hear this message here today. So I'm going to read the story real quick of the vine and the branches. It's a short story. And then I'm going to explain to you guys the four most important steps. The four most important points that I got from the story. All right. So let's start it. So this is John 15. I want you guys to listen first, and then we'll talk about each individual topic that I want to cover here today. So here it goes. John 15, the vine and the branches. It starts by him saying, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that here it goes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up and thrown into the fire and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Last paragraph. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for another's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything I learned from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, I chose you, and I appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command: love each other. Can I get an amen in the chat real quick for that? Please. Now, why did I relate so much to this story? And there's a specific part of this story that I actually shared with my leaders yesterday, because I showed them, I'm like, yo, the reason why I think that this story hit me so hard was because of this part right here where he says this. He says, here we go. He says, if you remain in me and I remain in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up and thrown away into the fire and burned. But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Now, the reason why that hit me so much is because I've been both people. I've been the guy that didn't remain with the Lord, right? I wasn't connected to him. I wasn't connected to the word. I didn't have a real close relationship with him. I believed that there was a God, but I didn't have a relationship with him. There's a difference. There's a lot of people that know that he's there and know and hear of him, and maybe because of your parents or maybe because of the environment that you've been around, you believe that there's a God, but do you really have a relationship with him? And listen to what he says here. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up and thrown into the fire and burned. I've been there before. I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to be a branch. Remember, the vine is the middle, the trunk, the main part of the tree. The branches is obviously the branches on the side of it. All right. I've been someone that has been one of the branches that were not connected to the vine. I wasn't connected to the vine because I wasn't living God like. So what happens? That's what he says. He says, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers, and such branches are picked up and thrown into the fire and burned. Think about it. When people are making fires in the woods, how do they get the wood for the fire? Right? It's the branches that they pick up on the floor, the ones that are not connected to the vine, to the main trunk, to the tree. So I was once those individuals. I was once that. I was once a branch that wasn't connected to the vine. And even though I wasn't burned and, thrown in the fire physically, but it felt like it because of the way my life was going, if that makes sense. You see, there's metaphors here. So you need to understand the metaphors behind it as well. There were so many challenges, so many things that I went through when I wasn't connected to the vine. And I remember feeling that. I remember going through those moments where it felt like I was in the middle of a fire. It was just so many challenges, so many obstacles, so many things that I was dealing with. But then I've also been on the other side as well. So I know what it's like to be on both sides, because then he says, if you remain in me and my words, right? This is why it's important, since I've been in my word. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. That's so key. So that now that I've been so connected to the vine, now that instead of me jumping on Mornings with Nano and giving credit to other things because before I remember, and this is me being truthful, right? I used to jump on Mornings with Nano and I would give credit to everything but God. But now that I understand and I'm aware of everything, I know that all credit, all praise, all glory goes to him first. I understand that now. I know that my lack of awareness caused certain things to happen in my life, but you know why? Because I wasn't aware. I'm vulnerable enough to come on here and tell you guys that I've been that individual, because at some point we've all been there because of our lack of awareness. That's part of growth. That's part of maturity. And that's part of the reason why sometimes God puts you through what you got to go through, so that you can realize that, like my mentor once told me, he said, Nano, you don't know God is all you need until God is all you have. And I've been in those situations where God was all I had, and I had no other choice but to go to him. But now that I have him in my life, all right, now that I have him in my life, now he said, I'll repeat it again. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit. That you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. What do you think I'm doing right now on this call? What do you think I did this morning? I'm remaining in his word. Okay. I'm showing myself to be one of his disciples. I don't know if you guys know the story of when he sent out the 12 disciples. What were the 12 disciples doing when they were sent out? They were preaching the word. What do you think I'm doing right now on this call? Preaching the word. I'm living in my purpose. I'm making you guys aware of the things that I was once not aware of. Showing you guys like, yo, look, this used to be Nano. I used to be like this. I lived like this. And because I was like this, look at what happened to me. Look at the consequences I had to face because this is how I was living. I wasn't living righteous, right? I wasn't obedient. But look, I changed my life around and now I'm living like this. Now I'm in the word. Now I'm a disciple. Now I understand what my purpose in life is. There's a difference. And because I wish, I receive. And I want to make you guys aware of this because this is so key. Now, what are the points that I want to make here? There's 4 points that I learned here that I want to make sure that you guys can become aware of. All right. Number 1 is stay connected to the vine. I don't know if you guys are on this call right now listening to this very closely, but let this be the message that reminds you to stay connected to the vine, right? The key verse that says it is John 15, 1-4, where he says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will even be more fruitful. You are already clean because the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. This is so important. This is so important right here on this call. Listen to this. And I know a lot of us, we go through things in life, but sometimes the biggest blessing is not in what God gives you, is in what God takes away. I'm going to repeat that again. Listen to it again. Listen to what I just said. Sometimes the biggest blessings that God gives us is not in what he gives us, is in what he takes away. Because listen to what he said. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit. So sometimes there's things in our lives that God removes, but it's because those branches aren't going to bear no more fruit. Those people, those situations, those circumstances are not meant to be in your life. You got to understand that. Like John 13:7 says, you may not understand now, but later you will. Right? There's going to be people that get removed from your life. Let me tell you guys something. The last couple of days, the last couple of weeks has exposed so many people in my life that I actually thought were friends of mine, that I actually thought that I can count on. A lot of people. I'm like, yo, sheesh, God. Like, I asked you to elevate me and you just remove all these people from my life. Like, I thought these were my brothers. Like, I thought these were people that, had my back. But when it came down to it, it wasn't true. Family too. Facts. No, family. I thought it was family. But guess what God did? God said, yo, Nano, he cuts off every he cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit. I can't question his timing. No longer, right? No longer will I allow for myself to get frustrated when God cuts off branches that are no longer going to bear fruit in my life. It's time to let them go. It's time to let them go. Has anyone had to let people go in their lives recently? People, maybe a friend, a family, a relationship. Put a 2 in the chat if you guys have. Hey, look, it's difficult. It's hard to even accept this sometimes, but I've kind of learned to not question God's timing and God's decisions. I promise you. So he cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes. So look at how God works. He cuts off the people in my life that are no longer going to bear fruit, but he's helping the people in my life that are going to bear fruit prune. Right? I got people like my sister Samaya on this call who always prays for me, who always looks out for me. Okay, he's pruning her. I got my brother Alex is on this call. I'm seeing here on this call. I see T. I see Michael Howard. I see Angelica on this call. I see K, SG. I see Carmen in here. Right? I see Sophia in here. I see Bougie in here. I see so many people in my life that now God is pruning so that they can bear much fruit. These are the people that are meant to be in my life, and he's removing those that are not in my life. Because understand, guys, God is the true source of life and growth. Just as a branch must remain connected to the vine to bear fruit, we must stay connected to the Lord. We have to stay connected. Look, I got so many of my family in here. I got Eunice in here. I've got Mario, my brother Junior's on here with me, right? I see Shirley in here. I see Rosie in here. I see Luce in here with me. We all in here. The whole family's here. Nia's in here with me. So God is removing those people that are no longer going to bear fruit, and he's pruning the ones in my life that are going to bear fruit, that are going to lead with the Lord, that are going to be disciples, that are going to be truthful and going to be righteous and obedient. That's how life works. I got my brother Troy on here with me too. That's how it is. And you got to understand that, and you got to learn to accept the things that God puts in your life. Exactly, Crystal. He cleaned house. It was time. It was time to get rid of those branches. Those branches were no longer going to bear fruit. And sometimes we need to understand that. But you know what's the most important part of this lesson is we got to stay connected, especially during these times. He got rid of the branches that were no longer going to bear fruit, but now we got to stay connected to the vine, which means, you know what's something we got to be doing every day? We got to be in our prayer every day. We got to be picking up the Bible and we got to be reading it. You know, you need to be going to church on Sundays. If you can't go to church on Sundays, fine. There's a lot of beautiful churches that do online sessions. Listen to them on Sundays. You got to be tithing. Give a percentage of what you make every single week to the church. But Nano, I don't make a lot of money. I don't care if you give $10. Get in the habit of giving. Get in the habit of giving, of tithing. This is so key. Get in the habit of doing these things. Start living like God is a part of your life. Watch what will happen for you. Go to Bible studies. I respect one of my students on my team. Her name is Stephanie. She does Bible studies. She does them in person and she does them on Fridays every single week. It's beautiful. Yesterday, I saw a picture of a bunch of my leaders. They were at a men's Bible study. I think it was a prayer group or one of them. It was like 5 of them there. I was so happy for all of them. I was like, man, that's so cool to see all the leaders coming together and leading with the Lord. Okay, that's what I love about it. That we're taking time to grow ourselves, to become better. Are we perfect? No, none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. I can tell you, I'm not perfect. But you know what I am? I'm progressing. I'm a leader that is progressing. Nobody will be able to relate with me if I was perfect. People can relate with me because people say, you know what, Nano, you're a real one. Even though you're not perfect, we appreciate your progress. At least you're a leader that's progressing and not a leader that's faking to be perfect. Now I'm in my process still. I'm still learning. I'm still working on being as righteous and as obedient as I can be. This is all a process. I was I was raised completely different. This is a whole new consciousness. This is a whole new lifestyle that I'm adapting. I'm going from living like this to living like this. And it does not happen overnight. It's a process. So we got to remember that. And we got to give ourselves grace as well, because we're not going to be perfect. And you know what? You also got to give others grace. I've learned that as well. Give others grace, because not everybody is going to adapt to a new lifestyle from one day to another when they were living like this their whole lives. And now you're asking them to live like this their whole lives. It's very hard for someone to change overnight. It's very hard. If we were perfect, there would be no need for God. That's facts. So that's point number one. I want to make sure that everybody understands. Stay connected to the vine, especially over the next couple of weeks. Stay connected. That's the most important thing you could do. Right now, through everything, I'm connected. I'm at peace. I know that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I'm trusting that everything that is being removed from my life is for a bigger purpose. I don't have any worry. I don't have any fear. I don't have any doubt. I am in full trust, and I've let go of the wheel, and I've let God take in control. I know where we're going. I know where my heart is. I know where my team's heart is. So we're all solid, and you got to be the exact same way. So that's point number one. Point number two that I got from this story is that fruitfulness requires pruning. All right. Fruitfulness requires pruning. This is important. Listen to this, right? He says, remember, he cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be more fruitful. God is going to remove the unfruitful parts of our lives. And you know how he refines us? Through trials and discipline. That's how he prunes us, right? Nano, let me give you guys a simple definition of prune. Simple definition of prune. A simple definition of prune is to trim or cut away dead or unneeded parts to help something grow better. In the Bible, John 15, it means God removes things from our lives like habits, attitudes, distractions, people that stop us from growing spiritually. That's what prune is. He's pruning us, right? Type a one in the chat box if you're being pruned right now, right? Let me put a one in the chat box real quick. I'm being pruned right now, and I'm grateful for it. I get it. God, do you. Do you? I accept it. I'm following this. This is so key. I love that Michelle Martinez hasn't been here for a long time, and then she hops on and I'm talking directly to her. Those are my favorite kind of people. You're my favorite student, Michelle. The ones that, obviously you were disconnected for a little bit and then you come back, and now look at you having a breakthrough on the call. It almost feels like you were talking to me last night and I decided to do this training directly for you, right? That's how sometimes I feel like when I go to church. I'm like, yo, how does he know that I'm going through this? And he's talking directly to me. It's beautiful, right? But point number two is that fruitfulness requires pruning, which means in order for us to receive the fruits that we want in life, we need to go through the pruning process, which means God is going to remove things. We're going to get challenged. So if you're being challenged right now, you're not, it's not like you're going through a bad time. No, you're just being pruned. So all it is. All of us, we need to start learning. And this was something I learned recently. I wouldn't say recently. I've learned this, I would say the last couple of years I learned to have openness to God's correction. One of the most important things that you can understand and learn in this journey is to have openness to God's correction. Because he's going to correct things in our lives. He's always going to correct the things that are not in alignment with us. So you need to be open to accept it. The same way we're always so open to accept gifts and rewards and blessings, and we're always so happy to accept the good things. We also got to learn to have openness and acceptiveness when it comes to the things that really don't look like it's meant for us. Because believe it or not, everything that's happening in our lives right now is happening for a greater good. All of it. You got to trust that the pruning is for a greater spiritual awakening. Everything that God has ever pruned me or pruned in my life has always worked out in my favor. I know that everything that he's doing now is going to work in my favor later. I already know this. It feels like I've already seen this story. I've already seen this happen. I've been through this too many times to know that my God is a faithful God. I know that everything that he's doing is for me. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me. And when you learn to accept that, like, yo, this is all happening for me, you live such a peaceful life. You live such how can I explain it? You live this life filled with so much joy because you just know that through the good, through the bad, it's all gonna work out for you. That's why this specific story in the Bible hit me so hard. So we all gotta stay open to God's correction, right? Can we all, in the chat box real quick, can we all type, I am open to God's correction? Can we all type that in the chat box? Because we need correction. We all need correction. You know why? Because some of us, we don't live life the way we're supposed to. So we got to stay open to God's correction when it happens. We shouldn't complain. We shouldn't be sad. We shouldn't be stressed. We need to accept it. We need to accept God's correction in our lives. Super important. That's point number 2 that I got from it, which is fruitfulness requires pruning. Number 3, all right, is this one is key right here. It said, and this is why I always say, there is power in prayer. Power in prayer was point number 3 for me. Why do I say that? Well, there's a key verse that says in the story, it says, if you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. This is basically saying, guys, you need to be building that relationship with him every day. You need to align your will with God's. You got to lead powerful and you got to do your best every day to put him first. You can't wake up and grab your phone and check your Instagram and check your messages and check your TikTok, your Snapchat, and do everything in the world first and then put him last and then expect him to put you first. That can't be you, fam. You got to wake up and put him first. Before you grab your phone, pray, give thanks, be grateful. Stop waking up and giving everybody else your attention. Instagram's not going anywhere. Your messages, your emails are not going anywhere. Your job can wait. People can wait. Your girlfriend, your boyfriend can wait. Wake up and put him first. Stop putting him last and expecting him to put you first. Stop. That's why things are not working out for you. That's why he's correcting you. Because you wake up and your phone is more important than him. Instagram is more important than him. You need to stop that. And let me tell you guys, I've been that person as well. I've been the person that I would wake up and the first thing I wanted to do is, let me check Instagram. Let me check who messaged me. Let me check my emails. Let me check my trades. Let me check this. And next thing you know, it's been an hour into my day and I haven't even practiced any gratitude or any prayer. But I want God to prioritize me. How does that make sense, guys? Please explain that to me. How does that make sense? How is God going to prioritize me when I put him last? Listen to the verse. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. That's why you ask and you never receive. Because call it what it is, you're not remaining in him and his words are not remaining in you. So whatever you ask, you never get it. You never get it. We gotta start learning this. We gotta change our ways, guys. And that goes for Nano too. I'm not here on this call calling you out by yourself. No. I'm here telling us we gotta change our ways. Not you gotta change your ways. Not I gotta change my ways. We gotta change our ways because we are a team on this call. We got 30 plus people on this call. It's we got to change our ways because we got to be the example for the rest of the world. We have to be the example. And it is so true. It's 11:11. That's how true that everything what I'm saying at this very moment is exactly what we need to hear at this very moment. We got to understand that. So I encourage all of you guys to get yourself a Bible. Start meditating on the word. Start reading it. Guys, I don't read the word I don't read it an hour a day. I read a chapter or two a day. It takes me 10 minutes to do. It takes me 10 minutes to do. Literally 10 minutes. I read maybe a chapter or two, and that's it. I read my word. I prayed. I practiced my gratitude. I feel amazing. It's almost like my armor for the day. It feels incredible at the end. When I'm done with it, I'm like, yo, this feels incredible. We got to understand this. And look at what God says. Look at the example that it gives at the bottom, the explanation of it, of the first couple of lines. It says, God desires that our lives be like the fruitful branches of a grapevine. The only way to be fruitful is to remain connected to Jesus, the vine, and allow God, the gardener, to prune our lives in ways that will stimulate growth and fruitfulness. It is God's cultivating, weeding, and pruning in our lives that brings forth spiritual fruit. Sheesh. Just as sustenance for the desired fruit comes through the vine, so fullness of life comes through faith in Jesus Christ. We need to stay close to God in Jesus Christ, the source of our spiritual growth and fruitfulness. You know how powerful that is? I'm going to read this part right here. It is God's cultivating, weeding, and pruning in our lives that brings forth the spiritual fruit. I love that. You know why? Because I know that right now, God is cultivating. God is pruning. He's weeding out all the things in our lives that are not in alignment with where we're going. And as you're sitting there stressed and sad and worried about everything that's happening in your life, God is like, my child, I'm doing this for you. This is going to bring forth a spiritual fruit. But you got to let him work. You got to be open to it. Stop rejecting your blessings. Remember, your blessings are not just what God gives you. Your blessings are also what God takes away. We need to be understanding of that. Right, Angel? Let him cook. Let him work. He's working overnight for us. He's doing a lot of work on all of us. As a matter of fact, you know what we all need to do? We all need to type thank you in the chat. Can we all just type thank you for all the work that he's doing behind the scenes that you don't even have to do? You're not doing the work, he's doing it. You're just going about your day. He's doing the work for you. He's pruning you. He's cultivating it. He's weeding. He's doing all this work for all of us. For every single one of us. Imagine if that was your job. Sheesh, bro. I'm not gonna lie, God, you have a hard job, but we thank you and we are so grateful. Because I feel like you have enough with me, but you got to do it for Ruby, you got to do it for Zion, you got to do it for Michelle, you got to do it for La Tierra, you got to do it for Kay, you got to do it for Tasha, you got to do it for Jess, you got to do it for Manza. He's doing it for all of us. We need to be thankful, fam. We need to be understanding as well. He's dealing with all our problems. He takes on all our problems, all our stress, all our burdens. And he does it with a smile on his face, bro. He does it with grace. He forgives us of all the BS that we do. Come on, man. How many of us, we know deep down inside, how many of us know we need forgiving? How many of us know we need grace for some of the things that we've done, we've said in the last couple of years of our lives? And he still loves us, bro. He's still willing to be there for us. He's still, come on. I hope that this wakes you guys up a little bit. Because I've seen what God has done in my life, bro. Like I've seen it. Because like I said, I've been the branch that wasn't connected to the vine, and I've seen the struggles. But now that I'm connected to the vine, I see how fruitful he's been with me. The blessings that he's given me, but also the blessings that he's taken away. I've learned to be open to these things. So even even though there's a storm, I feel like I could walk on water because I got faith. People, you could ask me, Nano, have you ever walked on water? I'll probably tell you yes, because I got faith, bro. I don't let the distractions to the left, to the right. I keep my eyes on him. Remember, it's metaphor. It's not literal. It's a metaphor. It's, do you have enough faith to walk on the water and keep your eyes on him while everything and the storms are happening around you? Are you connected to the vine or are you disconnected? If you're disconnected, that's when you start to sink. That's when you start to drown in your own problems and in your own sorrows. Stay connected. People are, it's so crazy to see, bro. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day. I'm like, yo, it's crazy that, we do everything right and people still find a way to hate. And then, what my friend told me, he like, Nano, but think about God, bro. God did everything right and they still crucified him. That's how life is. You got to learn to accept that. You got to learn to accept that, fam. Even when you do it all right, people will still find a way to hate. You could be the nicest person in the world. You could do it all right for everybody. You could lead with your heart. People are always going to find a way. But remember, it's not you, it's them. It's a reflection of their insecurities, their doubts, their fears. I caught myself. I had to catch myself. I'm like, yo, it's them, not you, Nano. Just take it with a grain of salt. Humble them with results. Humble them in other ways. Because that's the way of the Lord. I have checked some people, though. I'm going to tell you the truth. I have checked some people. I've had to check some people because At the end of the day, I also know that God will check some people too as well and make sure that they know what's going on. But outside of that, we got to understand that that's what comes with it. And I'm okay with that. So there is power in prayer. That was number 3. And then last but not least, number 4, so we can end it right here. It says, live in love and obedience. Live in love and obedience. At the end of the day, and one of the last verses, he says, as the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. Remain in that relationship with him through the good, through the bad, and obey. Develop a culture in your life, in your business, of servant-hearted love and commitment to God's commands. I need you to understand that. I'm committed to that. I'm committed to the commands of the Lord. I'm committed to leading with love. People need it right now. People have a lot of hate in their heart, a lot of envy, a lot of jealousy. You guys don't believe me? Look, you could tell the way where somebody's vibrating by this right here. Look at this right here. This will tell you where people are vibrating right here. Look at this. Look at where people are right here, bro. This is where people are vibrating right now. A lot of people. People are worried. They're blaming. They're angry. Hate, rage, jealousy, number 20. Oh my God. Fear, grief, depression, victims. You guys can't see number 21, which is right here where my picture is, but that one, it says insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. That's where people are vibrating right now. They're not vibrating they're not vibrating in joy and love and appreciation, any of that stuff. I know this though. I see people, I'm like, yo, if only these people knew where they were vibrating. These people are really vibrating at these levels. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, all you could do is pray for them. That's all you can do. I'm on this call spreading love, spreading wisdom, speaking the word of the Lord. Pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening. And sometimes loving somebody is checking somebody. I've had to check some people as well in my life, because that's also spreading love, because sometimes people don't realize what they're doing until you check them. Stay connected to the vine, guys. I'm telling you, it'll change your life forever. It'll change your life forever if you stay connected. We got to be vibrating joy, love, passion, positive expectations, everything. And everything else will take care of itself. So that is the 4 points that I wanted to cover on today's call when it comes to the tree and the branches. Sorry, no, not the tree, the vine and the branches, right? And I went over the four biggest takeaways, which was number 1, stay connected to the vine. Number 2 was fruitfulness requires pruning. Number 3 was there's power in prayer. And number 4 is lead with love and obedience. Lead with love and obedience. That's all you can do. And if I could have made it a point, stay open to God's correction in your life. Stay open to it. We all need it anyways. Some of us all know deep down inside that we need correction because we're not living how we're supposed to be living. So don't be mad. Don't be frustrated. Don't be sad when God corrects you, because that's part of the process and that's part of his journey for you, and you need it. We all need it. It's changed my life. I know it can change yours. All right. So if you were able to get value from today's call, put a 222. Actually, no, not a 222, 444 in the chat. If you got value from today's training, right? 444s for the 4 points that we made today. I hope that you guys were able to get a lot from this. I know that it shifted my perspective when I read this story 2 days ago. I pray it can shift yours as well. I pray that this is the call that makes you aware of where you are with your relationship, and it wakes you up to wanting to build that closer relationship now. Because trust me, if you want to bear fruit and you want your wishes to become reality, the only way it's going to happen is if you stay in the word and you stay connected to him. Let this call on this Thursday, May 15th, let this be the call that woke you up. And if you guys are wondering what Bible I use, here, let me actually show you guys. If you go on Amazon and you search up Every Man's Bible, my Amazon is asking me for codes or something like that. Let me see. There's a Every Man's Bible, and then there's also an Every Woman's Bible. So there's one for women, and there's also one for men as well. They're like $40 though, but it's worth every dollar. I mean, it's worth everything, to be real. Right here it is. You guys can use this one right here. This is the one that I have. Every Man's Bible right here. That's the one that I have, I'm pretty sure. And then there's also you could also do Every Woman's Bible as well. Super fire. You could get it whatever color you want. Super fire. Worth every dollar. Priceless, actually, to be honest. Good stuff. If you're ever looking for something like me that's basic, but that can break everything down for you, that's the one. All right, guys. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for jumping on today's call. Tomorrow we'll finish our last. I bought a copy of Every Man's Bible earlier, eBay. Yeah, for like 27. So you got it for a good price. You got it for a good price. I paid 40 for mine. I mean, I didn't pay anything for mine. Mine was free, but everybody that I've told to buy it, they paid like $35-$40 for it. So I pray you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. If you haven't stayed connected to the Vine, make sure that you do. That's the reason why I pray for us at the end of every call, so that way, even if you're not doing the prayer, I'm praying for you, so that way I'm somewhat keeping you connected. So I appreciate you guys. So I'm going to do a little prayer before we go, and we'll end the call right there, fam. Quick prayer. Everybody bow your heads. Let's pray. Father, Lord, we just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to wake up on this beautiful Thursday morning. Today, we learned the importance of staying connected to the Vine, Father. And now, more importantly than ever, we want to be more connected to you than ever before. We want to be branches that bear fruit. We don't want to be branches that bear no fruit. And we want you to know that we are accepting and we are open to the pruning process that you've done in our lives. We understand that there's things that need to be taken away from our lives. We understand that there's challenges and correction that we need. And moving forward, I'm speaking on behalf of the whole entire community, the hundreds that jumped on today. We are open to your correction, God. And we just want to say thank you for your love, for your protection, for your guidance, for your wisdom, for always being there for us and holding our hands through this process. You're our leader, you're our father, and we're just so grateful that we have someone like you in our lives. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all the work that you're doing on each and every single one of us, each and every single day. It doesn't go unnoticed, and we promise to make sure that we are the change that we want to see in the rest of the world. Let's keep growing. Let's keep serving our purpose, and everything that we do it for your praise and your glory, Father. We love you and we appreciate you. In God's name we pray. Amen, amen, amen. Stay connected to the Vine, fam. I hope that today's call was a wake-up call to all of you, and that you guys can go out there and continue to be the best versions of yourselves, be obedient, be righteous, and let's go out there and have a great day. I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow, 10:15 a.m. God bless. Enjoy, fam.